Senator Camilla Hayes, a well-respected state senator, had just finished her weekly visit to her mother's house and was now at the mall to pick up a few supplies. As she strolled toward her car, she didn't notice the police cruiser pull into the parking lot behind her. Officer Janice Salazar, a seasoned cop known for her strictness, was on her usual patrol route when she spotted Camilla. From her view, the scene looked suspicious. A black woman walking through a mostly deserted part of the lot, looking into her car windows, seemingly preoccupied. "What's she up to?" Janice muttered under her breath. She parked, stepped out, and marched toward Camilla, her hand resting on her belt, fingers hovering just over her baton. She had no idea who Camilla was, just another civilian as far as she was concerned. "Excuse me, ma'am," Janice called out with a firm tone, catching Camilla's attention. Camilla turned around, surprised to see the cop. "Yes, officer. Is there a problem?" "What are you doing here?" Janice asked in a harsh tone. Camilla blinked, taken aback. "I'm just loading my groceries into my car." "ID, please," Janice demanded without a smile. Her fingers tapped against her belt impatiently. Camilla felt her heartbeat quicken, but she kept her face calm. "Is there a reason, officer?" "I haven't done anything wrong." Janice's jaw tightened. "Just show me your ID, ma'am, and I'll decide that." Camilla sighed, pulling her wallet out of her purse. She handed her driver's license over to Janice, who snatched it without a word and began inspecting it closely. "Senator Camilla Hayes." Janice's eyebrows shot up. "Never heard of you." "Well, I'm a state senator," Camilla replied patiently. "I represent District 12. But Janice wasn't interested. She glanced at Camilla's ID and then pocketed it as if it was evidence against her. "I don't care who you are, Senator. Something doesn't sit right with me about you being here." Camilla stared at her in disbelief. "Officer, this is a public mall. I have the right to be here just like everyone else." Janice folded her arms, blocking Camilla's way to her car. "You can explain that at the station. I'm taking you in." Camilla's protests fell on deaf ears as Janice led her to the back of the cruiser, ignoring her questions and demands to speak to a lawyer. Passers-by watched in confusion and unease, wondering what this well-dressed woman could have done. Janice drove with her usual strict focus, keeping her eyes on the road, determined to get this troublemaker to the station. Camilla sat silently in the back, taking deep breaths, staying calm despite the rough treatment. She knew she'd be free soon. There was nothing to hold her on, but the frustration was undeniable. Arriving at the station, Janice parked and led Camilla inside, past a row of officers and detectives working on various cases. Some heads turned as they walked by, a few whispering and wondering why a state senator was in cuffs. Janice ignored their looks, directing Camilla to a small, stark room with a metal table and chairs. "Wait here," Janice snapped. She left Senator the room, Hayes, closing the door behind her with a loud extending clang. his hand. Camilla was "I alone apologize for what for felt any like inconvenience, hours, but was only a few minutes." Camilla Eventually, shook his Lieutenant hand, Jordan grateful Pierce, for the courtesy. Janice's superior, walked in. "Lieutenant, thank you for coming." He was a tall, middle-aged man with if a someone kind could face, explain but why a I was firm arrested. demeanor. He'd been alerted to Camilla's Pierce arrest frowned, and was flipping curious through about a the report reasons Janice behind had it. hastily filled out. His eyes widened as he scanned it. "According to Officer Salazar, she found you acting suspiciously in a parking lot." Camilla's eyebrows shot up. "Suspicious? I was shopping. Is that a crime now?" Pierce shook his head, an uncomfortable look on his face. "No, ma'am, it's not." "This doesn't make any sense." At that moment, Janice burst into the room, unaware of Pierce's conversation with Camilla. "I have her ID here, Lieutenant. Caught her wandering around like she owns the place." Pierce turned to her. His eyes narrowed. Officer Salazar, I hope you realize who you've arrested. Janice's smirk faded. Who? Pierce set his jaw. This is Senator Camila Hayes. You're aware she's one of the most respected leaders in our state. Janice's face turned pale. She stammered, I didn't know. Pierce's voice turned cold. You should have taken her ID seriously, officer. You have overstepped your authority on shaky grounds. Pierce's words echoed in the small room. Janice could hardly believe what she was hearing. She had never thought a simple, suspicious arrest would backfire this spectacularly. Lieutenant, Janice began, but Pierce cut her off with a stern look. You've overstepped, officer. This is harassment, plain and simple. You could be facing serious consequences. Pierce warned. Camila stood up, her voice calm but firm. Lieutenant, I'm willing to let this go, but I do want an explanation from Officer Salazar. I deserve that at the very least. Janice shifted uncomfortably, unable to look Camila in the eye. I thought you were someone else, she mumbled, her confidence fading. Pierce shook his head. You made an arrest based on assumptions. We don't make decisions like that in this department, officer. By now, a few other officers had gathered near the door, the unfolding drama too compelling to ignore. The whispers grew louder as word spread. Janice's reputation had taken a hit in seconds, and she could feel her career slipping through her fingers. Pierce finally spoke, his tone final. Officer Salazar, I'm afraid I have no choice but to suspend you pending an investigation. Janice's face turned bright red, but she stayed silent. She knew arguing would only make things worse. As Camila left the station, Janice sat alone in the small room, her badge confiscated, her pride shattered. She knew that this was justice, the kind she'd been blind to when she acted out of prejudice. And now, everyone would remember her not as a strict cop, but as the officer who lost everything over an unjust arrest. And this brings us to the end of this story. Thank you for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, don't hesitate to like the video and share it with your friends too. Subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell for more fascinating stories. Have a nice day.